spend a few moments learning about R scripts. An R script is a series of commands and annotations that will be presented in a sequence to R. Rather than typing commands directly into R one at a time, we can develop a script, which is a series of commands or functions, and then present these to R either one at a time, a few at a time, or even the entire script at once. The easiest place to create R scripts is in the source pane of RStudio, although literally any text editor could be used to create R scripts. The advantage of creating the scripts in the source pane of RStudio is that we can run lines as we create them to check for errors. R scripts can be run as many times as we want to, and we can easily revise our scripts and then run them again. How large or how small you make a script is up to you because we can include multiple scripts in an RStudio project. Whereas one person may choose to make a single script to do a large analysis with 100 functions, another person may choose to make 10 scripts with 10 functions per script. For example, you may want to create one script to calculate basic statistics and another script to construct graphs. Let's look at script creation in RStudio. In another video, I created a simple script, albeit a single function script, to read data into R from a CSV file. I'm going to open that project up and load that script as a starting point for illustrating further script construction. My project is called Mount Holly Elementary Analysis, and when I open that project, I already have my data and my simple script in the project folder. The script that I created is called Reading the Mount Holly Elementary Data. I'm going to open that script by clicking on the title in the Files window, and the script will appear in the Source window. I'm going to run this script to read in the data. I can verify that I've successfully read in the data by looking at my object in the Environment pane. Let's create a command to tell R to show us the last name and score variables in the data set. First, I'm going to create my annotation to remind me what this section of the script is doing. Now let's tell R to show us the last names. To access the variable within an object, we type the object name, a $, and then the variable name. So here, I need it to type Mount Holly data, $, last, dot, name. Don't forget to be careful with upper and lower case and match them exactly to how we define this object and the variables. Now, did you notice a couple ways that RStudio helps us avoid any mistakes? First, when I typed the object name, it guessed at what I was typing in, and I can hit enter on the keyboard in order to enter that object name. And when I typed in the $, it gave me a list of all the possible variables, so I could simply select the one I want and again hit enter on the keyboard. Very helpful. Now let's do it again for score. Once I've done that, I can run these two commands and I'll see the last names and scores in the R console window. Let's see now how we can look at individual cases. I'm going to start again with my annotation. Now I'm going to type in the object name, followed by a set of brackets. And within the bracket, I'm going to indicate that I want to look at the first case, and I'm going to follow that by a comma. When we run that line, you'll see here that we now have the first case in our data. Edward Cornish, a male in the 5th grade with a score of 80. Let's do it again for the 4th case. Now you may wonder, why do we have the case number followed by a comma? That's because if we only wanted a certain variable instead of all of the variables for that case, we could enter the number of the variable after the comma. For example, suppose I want the last name for the first case. I would then type my object name and the bracket, but in the bracket I'll put 1 for the first case and 2 because the last name is the second variable. Let's run this and see. Notice that it gave me Cornish. It also gave me last names for others on a separate line, indicating that other levels of the variable are possible. Let's try this again for the 5th variable, which is score. In fact, let's look at the last name and the score for the 4th case. So note, I'm looking at the 4th case second variable, and then I'm looking at the 4th case 5th variable. And those appear in my R console window. Alternatively, we could have typed the object name with the $, pick the variable, and then indicated which case we wanted the variable for. Notice that gave us the last name for the 4th case. All I needed here was the case number. I don't need 2 numbers within the brackets because I've already identified the variable. If I want to save this script, I could of course click on the little disk icon up here at the top of the source pane. But let's suppose I want to save this script without overwriting the previous script for reading in the Mount Holly elementary data. I can pull down the File menu, click Save As, and then give a descriptive name. If I click on the name for my original script, it will appear as another tab. Perhaps since I have a script that reads the data, I want to eliminate reading the data from this first script. I can simply delete those lines and then click the disk icon to save the script. So now I have a script for reading data and a script for looking at variables and cases. This is what I meant when I said it's up to us whether to put all our functions into one long script or to break it up into separate scripts, each with its own purpose. Creating scripts is at the heart of our statistical programming. The best way to get familiar with scripts is to program in R. I trust that you'll gain a lot of experience as you move forward doing statistical analysis, and I hope you enjoy the process.